Philip, do you represent Citrus Heights?
I do. For the Sac County part, it's Citrus Heights, Rancho Cordova, Carmichael, Antelope, North Highlands. That's the Sacramento County part. And then for Placer County, it's only Roseville.
I'm wondering if you could talk a little more about affordable housing and stuff like that. As you know, in this area, it's awful. And it's really hard for working families to find housing. So if you could share more about that, I'd love to hear it.
Sure. Yeah, it's bad. In 2017, the Sacramento area had the fastest rising rent in the whole country, actually. And so this is, just in the last couple of years, I've noticed that the rent has gone up a lot. So I think we definitely do need rent control in the cities where we're able to pass it. So in Sacramento, the city itself, there's an effort to get that, and they got it on the ballot for 2020. And their city council is talking about it. But in other cities like Citrus Heights, Roseville, I think that should not be off the table. We should talk about rent control. And of course, we need new housing, so we have to figure out ways of getting funding in there. And I think developers threatening, like I said, that's what they were doing in City Hall last week. They're threatening capital strike. So I think rent control is still reasonable. Responsible landlords are able to make a profit still, so that won't stop development.
Jackie, I'd just like to clarify a point. Single payer is the single most powerful solution to 80% of the issues that you're talking about. For example, Title 19, when it was created in the 70s, essentially required out-of-home placement for providing support dollars. Why? Because the politics in those days didn't want to, quote, Bolshevize the American family by providing direct money. If we have single payer, it will break that Title 19 bond, and the objective there is to not require that we create this domestic refugee population and then an administration to deal with the oil spill that we've created politically. So that's the thing. Now I'd like to ask one question to both of you. Both of you are running against very powerful incumbents with a lot of money in very big districts. Is there a single major bullet that you need funded that would make a difference in your campaigns to address your constituencies to get the word out that you're running against these monsters?
Oh boy, that's a loaded question. But yes, we could use some funding for direct mail pieces to address this to these guys, to our constituents, especially the NPP voters, the 38% of the people who are on the edge, so we can educate them. That is the most important thing we can do as a community, is to educate our NPP about their medical
What are you talking
issues.
About in dollars? Concretely in dollars, what do you actually need?
I need $21,000 to get one direct mail piece.
Good.
I need to, technically I should do 3, but if that is what we're up against. I did a fundraiser the other night, I made $23,000. Thank you, my fellow. So, but I need to do 2 more of those. So if you could, if you guys could reach out and help us, we could have you help us write a piece for that. That would be awesome.
Great.
Thanks. First I'll say, I think you're totally right. Healthcare is a major opportunity. Even in our districts, which are most would consider conservative, Republican-leaning districts, I think this issue is one that affects everybody, and nobody really likes these insurance companies. And especially in super rural districts like mine, which goes all the way up north in the North State, there's, we don't have enough hospitals, we don't have enough doctors, and Medicare for All would raise the reimbursement rates, and we'd attract more doctors. As far as my needs, I'm focusing more on canvassing, so I need volunteers mostly. And so when I go canvassing, the script I have, the conversations I want to have at the doors is healthcare based. And so we're building up this list of supporters that we want to keep engaged beyond the election. So more than anything, I need volunteers. But if you do want to make a contribution, come talk to me afterwards.
Okay, so this my question is to both of you. In Congress, they introduced a bill, H.R. 620, which was a bad bill. And what it would do, it would limit the right for somebody to sue for access. It's a terrible bill. Make it harder to have access to happen with notifications. So 620, thank Kamala Harris for letting it fail. But we know an effort's going to come up because both Democrats and Republicans want this to happen. So my question is, how do you keep it from happening in the Assembly? Would you vote no? because they have bills like this in the assembly all the time. We got some stalwarts who say this is enough of this. And in Congress, same thing. But if you're in the Senate. So
yeah, just
what do you guys do about fighting bad access bills?
Sure. You were talking about access for disabled folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I remember that one. My congressman, Ami Bera, was one of the co-sponsors of that bad bill. So yeah, I would oppose those when and if they come up, and maybe hold town hall forums to talk about the issue. We have to protect the right for disabled folks to be able to participate in society, and it's really, one person I'll credit with giving me more thought about these issues is my friend Russell in Sacramento, and he's disabled, and you know, it's something a lot of people don't think about unless you know people who are disabled. But it's important just for him to get around and basic things, going to a coffee shop. You know, you have to have these laws in place so that everybody can access and do things and get around, transportation too.
Our seniors, our veterans, our disabled, some of our young people are suffering. They're suffering out there, and we need to protect them. And yes, I would vote for anything that would help the disabled. Because, you know, my mom, again, was in a wheelchair with ALS, and I had to get a handicap van to take her around. I bought one to take her. We need to have more access for people, especially disabled. I experienced it firsthand. Believe me, I will take that with me to the assembly, what I learned, and we will fix this if we can.
Yeah. What I'm wondering is, why aren't we talking about where our insurance dollars actually go? Because we allow this country to make a profit off of healthcare, which is like nowhere else in the world. How much of our insurance dollars are going to these profiteers? How much of our insurance dollars are going to corporate executives in these insurance companies that if we went single payer, we're not paying all these people. Our doctors are overloaded with insurance papers and paperwork so that they can't, and they're not making any money because all they're doing is filling out insurance papers. Then what would the difference be?
Well, in California last year, we spent $367 billion on medical. Believe it, $367 billion. Most of that went to corporate. But we need to step it up and really keep them accountable. And that's what the drug transparency bill was all about. That's why Kevin voted against that. He's bought and paid by a corporate entity. I will not take any corporate money. I'm supported by over 800 small donors. I will never take corporate money, and I will always stand up for the union today, tomorrow, and the next day. But you know what? We have to get corporate money out of politics, which will get corporate money out of the medical industry too, and how we use our money more wisely for our constituents.
Thanks for that question. So you all know this since CARA is a pro-single payer organization. But one of the false attacks on single payer, on Medicare for All, is that it's too expensive, and how are you going to pay for it? That's a false attack because that's actually the financial part of single payer is the strongest argument in favor of it, because single payer is proven to be a cheaper and more efficient program. And for a number of reasons, it saves money. We're already paying for single payer. It's just being wasted by these insurance companies through their administrative costs, CEO pay, advertising, administrative costs on the doctor end as well. And so by switching to single payer, it's a cheaper and more efficient system, and studies have shown that it will save us money. Every other country out there does it more cheaply, and they cover everybody. It's more humane. So it makes financial sense, and it's on a moral argument. It provides health care for everybody. Thank you for bringing that up.
Endorsed by the In-Home Support Services Union.
I can answer that one.
Go for it.
I am endorsed fully by the unions, and most importantly, Williams, UDW. They have been so kind, and California Federation of Labor, California Labor Council, all the unions, and I'm very fortunate. I just received UFCW, and and United Healthcare Workers. I'm very, very fortunate and honored to have that endorsement.
So I jumped in a little bit late. I do have the endorsement of the, a little late into the race that is, but I have the endorsement of the California Labor Federation, which is the federation of all the unions in California, including the In-Home Support Services Union. That's UDW and SEIU 2015. But I might pursue to see if it's not too late to get the UDW one and see, or more importantly, if there's any events going on in my district that I could plug into. You know, and thank you so much if you're a union member. Thank you for the Cal Labor Fed endorsement.
Thank you. And this is for Jackie and for Philip as well. This is for Jackie and for Philip as well. Okay. As you know, all politics starts local. And I just want to say to Jackie, especially for seniors, you get it. You get it. You get it.
Thank you. Thank you. And I do get it. Thank you so much. I do. And we need every one of you to stand up and stand with me to do this. So I'm hoping that you all can join the team. We have an office across from Sierra College. A lot of my team is here today. Where's my team? Raise your hand. There they are. So you can talk to any of them. They'll be glad to set you up to help us. So thank you.
Yeah, politics is totally local, and so I definitely encourage a lot of you are already involved in CARA, but if you have family, friends, younger folks, there's a whole lot of organizations that are popping up all across the country. I'm a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America, and we have a very active chapter in the Sacramento area. So especially if you have family and friends, younger folks that want to get involved, please steer them to the Democratic Socialists of America. As well as there's a number of Democratic clubs. I'm the former president of the Wellstone Progressive Democrats of Sacramento. And yeah, if I'm elected, I totally commit to doing a lot of town hall, coffee type events. I want to talk to people. I am not by any means a policy expert on all these issues, on senior issues. So I'm totally open to learning more about everything.
Woo! Well, thank you. I think this has been a time well spent. I hope you learned something about the candidates. I hope you learned something about the issues. It is very important to recognize that this is a very important election coming up, and senior issues matter. It is important for everyone to be aware of that. So let's have another round of applause for all of our candidates.